Hi, I'm Derek, I'm 22 years old, and around a year ago, I achieved what I think is any 21-year-old's dream. I was starting businesses with my best friend, and within just 2 years, we were reaching hundreds of millions of people, dropped out of college, and had achieved financial freedom for ourselves. We had no ties, no investors, no bosses, and we had enough money to last us decades. Then, we made the crazy decision to put all of that on the line to start an absolutely crazy company. One that didn't even have a way to make money. But I genuinely think that it is the coolest company in the world. Partly because of our one-of-a-kind 3-story workspace built for people chasing their dreams. This is a story about creating your own path. So from an early age, I was always starting stuff. Passion projects, side hustles, businesses. I tried everything from drop shipping to reselling these old toys called Beanie Babies to making my own products to starting a height-matched basketball tournament that went viral on TikTok. You can think weight classes in fighting, but for height in basketball. The thing is, I always had this feeling that I really didn't know what I wanted to do with my future. My parents had certain expectations of me, as did the people around me. I grew up in the Bay Area, so it seemed like everyone around me was trying to go to a top college and work at a tech company and make a bunch of money. And for a long time, I listened to those expectations. I never got a B in my life. I went to UC Berkeley to study CS and business. All the side projects and side hustles had that side in them. They were on the side. And even then, I still felt a bit crazy for wanting to pursue them. When I got to college, I never really committed to doing my own thing. After all, it was so easy to look at everyone else around me striving for these grades, these internships, these jobs, and want the same thing myself. And then, I met this guy named Declan. What does it mean to bet on yourself?
Doing something that most people say that won't work, that's gonna fail, that for some reason you think is gonna work out, to take a bad bet for a good reason on yourself.
Declan's story was pretty similar to mine. He grew up in Pennsylvania and was reselling Rubik's Cubes, hand sewing leather soccer balls, and started this sneaker reselling company that ended up making $400,000 when he was 16 years old. Declan was the first person I had ever met who I thought might have been crazier than I was. It just so happened that he was looking for a co-founder. He had this app idea called You Up, a social alarm clock app where friends could send each other voice messages to wake each other up in the morning. So we agreed to team up and build it. Neither of us knew how to code, so we brute forced our way through YouTube videos and countless all-nighters, just trying to make something work. And since I had made TikToks for my basketball tournament before, and since we didn't have any money to spend on marketing, we decided to just go online and talk about our app.
What's up? My name's Declan. I made an app where you can wake up your friends with custom audio. And today, we're at UC Berkeley, trying to find the wackest sound to wake up my friend Felicity, who has a midterm tomorrow.
And somehow, people thought it was pretty cool. Over 30,000 people downloaded our app in a 3-month span. People were using this thing that we made to wake each other up. Everything from screaming at their friends in the morning to writing them poems.
So over the last day, UUp has absolutely blown up and we're getting thousands of users. And I just wanted to say thank you so much for being patient. Thank you so much for bringing it to our attention. This is so unexpected and we hit pretty much every limit and our app was crashing in every place just because so many people were using our app.
But because the app was free and the code was written so poorly, we ended up losing around $1,000 in hosting costs, which was a lot to 2 broke college kids. But this was our first taste at getting a whole bunch of people to try something we had made without paying for advertising and just putting ourselves behind what we were making. From there, we kept building stuff. School, grades, everything took a backseat. I dreamed about bugs in our code. I skipped class. I got my first B in my entire life. We made another alarm app, this time with AI voices that woke you up. That actually caught the attention of Sam Taylor, who you might have seen before.
All right, are you ready? Let's do it. Good morning, Roshan.
Yeah, so that's it. It repeats so that you wake up.
I love it.
We made a gratefulness app, a website that helped you study, an app to help you stop scrolling. They didn't really get anywhere, just used by a few people who happened to stumble across our stuff by chance. We were kind of stuck in this cycle of getting excited about a new idea, making it, and then just letting it sit there. But around this time, both Declan and I were tired of school. Just finished. Declan, how was it?
Yeah, I'd give it like a 2.5.
Out of 10?
Yeah.
Pretty solid, pretty solid.
Pretty solid.
We wanted something to work, not just make stuff on the side, but to really do it for a living. And we came to the conclusion that in order for that to happen, a whole bunch of people were going to have to see our stuff. We didn't have much money, nor did we know any better. So we decided to make 3 videos every single day each and post them on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube until something worked.
I made an AI writing together a simple
Two months go by with nothing. 300 views on every video. No one is trying our stuff. In fact, the only people that were seeing our videos and reacting were our friends and our parents. And knowing that they were out there seeing us desperately failing over and over again was embarrassing. But then, this one day, we were in Declan's studio apartment. Declan's on the toilet, taking a dump. And from the toilet, he shouts out an idea for a video. This was just one of maybe 10 or 20 ideas we had come up with that day. I didn't think much of it. I just made the video and posted it. By the time he had come out, it was already live. I made a website called I have an essay due at midnight that I really don't want to do.com. A week later, that video has 1 million views. Declan makes another version of the same video. Then I make another one. We get our friends to make some videos, and they reach 5, 10, even 50 million people. People begin flooding to our website. 2 months later, we drop out of school. So I'm currently heading to Declan's house. Declan's my co-founder, and we both made this website, and our writing tool just hit $10,000 MRR, which is monthly recurring revenue. It's also almost Christmas, so I'm currently heading to his house to gift him a celebratory whoop, which is something like a little wristband. Or just you.
You have to get yourself one now.
Damn, I should have gotten that camera. I literally recorded a whole
That's crazy.
Merry Christmas and
Merry
happy
Christmas.
10K MRR.
Happy 10K MRR.
It was about this time when we started thinking about what we wanted to do with our lives. We liked working on these small software projects, but we knew it wasn't what we ultimately wanted to end up doing. We started playing around with other products, more apps, more videos. We met this guy, Philip, who used to be a professional Fortnite player and worked for some of the top streamers in the world. And he helped us grow our projects even more. We traveled to Costa Rica, to Europe, to Hawaii. It was awesome. Our apps and websites kept growing profitably. And the entire time, we had no investors, no employees outside of a few contractors, and total freedom. We were quite literally living the dream. While our college friends were studying or doing exams or homework or trying to find internships at some big company, we were making what I considered life-changing money. Our work was directly reaching millions and millions of people, and no one was telling us what to do. And it was at this point that we stumbled across a very interesting and unexpected problem. So it is easier than ever to create your own path. People who want to start a business or make something and sell it, or make art and make a living from it. They have more resources, more tools, more opportunities than ever. For us, it was through software. The things we were doing with 3 people wouldn't have been imaginable 5, 10 years ago without entire engineering teams or sophisticated infrastructure. The speed at which we were able to learn to code, then write code, and then deploy it to millions of people. And it wasn't even just the building part of it. Through the TikToks, Reels, and YouTube Shorts that we were posting, we were quite literally reaching hundreds of millions of people without spending a single dollar. Before, you'd need to pay thousands of dollars or hire some ad agency before you could even think about getting your product seen. But we were just using our phone selfie cameras, talking about our product, and our videos were getting pushed out on these new platforms that try to figure out what people want to see, regardless of whether there's some big company, some influencer with millions of followers, or just some college kid in his dorm. So what does this have to do with my story? Well, after the money, the businesses, the 2-year sprint, I had this feeling that I can really only describe as being lost in the sauce. And what I mean by that is that we were constantly chasing the next goalpost, thinking about how to grow, to build on our momentum. And that was okay for a while, but I started burning out. I wasn't proud of the work I was putting out, even though it was working on paper. Part of it was because I was so focused on the grind of work, I lost touch with a lot of the people I used to be close to due to proximity, like my friends from college. And so I spent 80% of our time in our apartment with the 2 people I lived and worked with. And even though we technically could have worked anywhere we wanted, whenever we wanted, it really didn't feel like we had a place to go. When you go to school, you go to a campus every day with your peers. When you're working a job, you have your office that you go to every day with your colleagues. But what if you're working for yourself? Where do you go? Do you work out of a library or a cafe full of strangers? It was difficult to stay close to family and friends because they were on vastly different paths than us. They had full-time jobs and thought that what we were doing was crazy and risky. And so this is the interesting and unexpected problem that we stumbled upon. It is more possible than ever to make a full-time living from your passions and ideas. But our communities haven't caught up. We knew that there were people out there like us who were trying to find purpose in their paths, trying to do great work, but they were scattered around the world online, on Instagram DMs or Twitter feeds or occasional meetups whenever we happen to be in the same city. Declan and I, and later Philip, all happened to meet by pure chance. And there are big reasons as to why I was able to commit and to keep going for so long. Because I knew that there was someone out there that was as crazy as I was, if not more crazy. But just 3 people is hardly a community. And no matter how much I love them, spending all our time together was draining over years and years.
Alright, what are we here to do, guys?
We're here to
Build some stuff.
What are we building?
I actually still don't really know what we're building.
I'll tell you.
We ended up using these traffic signs. So we decided to build a physical space for people like us. We impulsively signed a lease to a beautiful 3-story office space here in San Francisco. We absolutely decked it out inside. Desks, plants, 3D printers. To make it a place people wanted to return to. A home base for people who had total freedom to work anywhere else. And we themed the space to emulate places that people who were working for themselves might have been. A library, a cafe, a dorm room. Only instead of strangers, here you'll be next to dozens of people who are also doing their life's work. We told our story online and people started finding us. People with all sorts of passions, music, clothing, art, software, and they came here to go all in on their dreams.
3, 2, 1, go!
And I know I can't do it justice by talking about it through a screen, but it's magical. Not because of our interior designer, although she did a great job, but because when you put people with unique passions and interests and ideas in a room together, the energy that they create is incredible. These people drop out of school, leave their safe jobs, to try to follow this weird feeling we have called passion or ambition or joy. In other words, they're absolutely crazy. But because everyone here is crazy, it feels like nobody is. Everyone has this beautiful thing in common, this desire to create, to do meaningful work for a living. And it's the backbone to this diverse community with people from all kinds of walks of life. We built the space, hired a team, walked away from the other businesses we were running, and Declan and I have spent almost $1 million out of our own pockets. One day, I want to build these kinds of spaces all around the world, so that anyone with a desire to create their own path can use it as the source of their community, rather than it being something that forces you to leave community behind.
I'm working on dropping and selling really cool pens. Congratulations, my brand is now incorporated. So I have an LLC. I have a company now. This is me texting mom and dad. I want to take a break from school.
But of course, in order for a business to sustain itself, survive, and grow, we need to make some money. This bet that we took 11 months ago has not paid off, at least financially. In fact, we are literally draining hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars. Part of it is that we don't want to take away from people's dreams. So for 10-week sprints, the people who get to work here don't have to pay a dime. We don't take any equity in their companies like some VC firm because we never took any investors in our companies. And we believe that keeping ownership in your company is the best chance for you to keep the joy that you have in your work. And so the way that we make money, at least for right now, is by selling the creations from the people here. The people here have absolutely beautiful stories. They leave their jobs or school, they go through hardships to come here and work on something they love. We have this hunch that people out there really care about the stories behind products, about the person they're purchasing from, not just the product that they're getting itself. And that's part of the reason I'm making this video in the first place, because I want to put myself behind this company that I'm building, a company that's 100% funded by me and Declan, and a purpose I feel like is true to me. And so we run this online store not because it's working. Actually, we're not even selling close to the amount we need to be sustaining all this, but because we think it's the most meaningful way for us to make money, which, if you couldn't tell already, is kind of how we and all the people here operate, starting with what your heart and intuition points to, rather than just trying to find something that works on paper. It feels true to us because we can spotlight the people here, tell their story, and get their stuff to people who are looking for cool creations. Behind the scenes, we buy their stuff in bulk and give them predictable upfront cash, without taking away from their businesses or forcing exclusivity or anything like that. It's the closest thing that we can find to a symbiotic relationship. And I think we're seeing a little evidence that it might work. These pants I'm wearing right now were made by Jason, an aspiring fashion designer whose story we told online and millions of people saw. We actually just sold out of our first drop of his pants. Megan made these Sudoku journals that combine Sudoku puzzles and guided journaling. Bonnie made these bookmarks that look like a spilled coffee or matcha cup. We also have our hat that we made and our trucker hat that's also on the store. Whoa.
We might just be browsing a little bit to see what looks good, what we might want.
So this is Navita, and she's starting a cake business, and this is a cake that she made. I think what I want people to take away from my story is that I really didn't know what in the world I was doing. I tell it like I knew where my heart was leading me the entire time, but I certainly had times when I was chasing ego, chasing validation, or chasing money along the way. And I felt a lot of shame in the moment for doing so, but I think it's all part of the unique path that I was creating for myself. Only because I knew how it felt to not follow my instincts was I able to tell what it felt like to actually do so. And if you're out there and maybe thinking about the role that you want your work to play in your life, whether you want to leave the traditional path, take a step into the unknown, or maybe you're already in the thick of it, I don't have any advice for you. I think you know what you should do best. But I do want to say that there are people out there doing what you're doing in the exact same spot. Maybe they're not physically there or working on something slightly different than you are, but I think finding the energy to keep going, to not quit, is so much of the battle. And it's so hard to fight it when everyone around you feels like they're on a different wavelength, and you're the only crazy one. And for me, I was lucky enough to find people like Declan and Philip, and now I get to work around so many cool people at Slam. So hopefully, as I tell my story and Slam tells more stories, it'll become apparent that you're not alone in that we have absolutely no idea what we're doing. But the point is to enjoy what we're doing and see where it leads us. So that is my story, and I will see you next week.